Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News.
Joining us now to talk about the People's Democratic Party's presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar's recently released policy document is the economic advisor of the Atiku campaign organization, Mustapha Chike-Obi. Good
morning,
to have you
sir.
on the morning show.
Thank
we were
you.
here before to discuss the economy. Now you're here to talk politics.
Thank you for joining us.
Vice President Atiku Abubakar, presidential candidate of the PDP, says he wants to make Nigeria work again.
That's correct.
And is launching a policy document today, which is also uploading on the website, on his website, for Nigerians to be able to access it. We're told at no cost. Now, what exactly? We've discussed some of the highlights of that document, which are already in the public domain.
Yes.
But, we would like to hear from you directly as the economic advisor. What exactly is he bringing to the table? And how issues-based is his campaign? Because he says his campaign is going to be issues-based.
Okay, you have to have a policy around certain principles. And the key principle in this document is a smaller, more efficient federal government. So everything you see is streamlined to accomplish a more efficient, streamlined government. So this document really is based on how we're going to improve, the most pressing issue in Nigeria, which is the unity, how we're going to bring Nigerians together. Those are political considerations, which, again, they have to fit. The problem we've had with this last government is that their policies are not coherent.
You say last government, test it there.
Well, the government we still have is that you have seemingly meaningful policies, but they don't fit together. So if you look at the next level document which they have released, it talks about a much bigger government. Government is doing everything. They are creating a bank to give people 10,000 naira each. We call it the People Money Bank. They are creating more and more responsibilities for the federal government, which is exactly the way we shouldn't go. So I won't spend too much time on the next level document because we have enough evidence. We have enough to judge this government by. And Nigerian people have made their judgment. What we need to focus on is what we are going to do better. So we will restructure as much as we can. And then we'll go to the National Assembly and then do the constitutional amendments that are necessary. But we will do what we can without a constitutional amendment. So restructuring to create a smaller government where everybody is represented is an important principle.
But aren't some of the proposals by the PDP over-ambitious? For example, over 1 million barrels a day, right? What does that mean in real terms? Is it feasible? Two, PDP...
What do you mean by 1 million barrels?
Production.
No, production of over 100 million barrels of oil per day.
100 million.
1 million barrels
per
day.
Our target
is it feasible?
We're
That's one.
We're doing 2.2 now.
Just hold on.
Yes.
Then, no, we're not doing 2.2. They just, talk about those figures. We're not really doing that.
Okay.
5,000 kilometers of roads.
Yes.
5,000 stretch line of railway.
Yes.
Vice President Atiku is also proposing to sell all 4 refineries.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If we sell all the 4 refineries, does it mean, is the policy document telling us we will only be importing petrol? So you need to explain, because it seems to me that the devil is in the details.
Yes,
The guys who put the document together, they probably overlook certain things.
No. I can go through the details with you if you would like.
Okay.
So the 1 million barrels a day, I don't understand.
Over 1 million barrels.
Nigeria today is producing somewhere between, everybody accepts this, between 1.7 and 2 million barrels a day already. No, so I think the 1 million...
those statistics are...
I think that the OPEC production limit for Nigeria is 2.2 million barrels a day.
Okay.
So as long as we get to that production limit, I don't think that's an ambitious thing.
Okay, but
I think that must be a mistake.
If 2.2 is the main projection,
so
why do we want to do around 1 million?
That's why I'm a little bit. I can't remember that 1 million barrels a day.
Double check the document.
But maybe it's a typo. But I don't think that we will even aim at 1 million barrels per day. That is too low a target. We're not looking for low targets in this document. But let us look at the roads, electricity, and the other things we mentioned, and the jobs we mentioned.
Electricity, 20,000 megawatts. you are proposing?
We're proposing 20,000 megawatts of distributed electricity, which is even more ambitious than people think. But we can do it. The problem we have in Nigeria today is that we shoot for very, very low targets. And so when they say they want GDP of 2% next year, 2% GDP is impoverishing Nigeria. We are going for double-digit GDP by 2021. So they may sound ambitious to you, but we are a big country. We can do many more things than people think we can do, as long as we have the political will and leadership to do it. And so what we're bringing to the table is ambitious targets, but we're bringing the political will and the expertise to do it. And I assure you that by year, because we have milestones, the document is necessarily abbreviated. We have where we want to be in 2019, end of 2019, end of 2020. We have all those milestones. You will see us release those milestones, and we'll see us get to them. But yes, we believe Nigeria can generate 100,000 megawatts of electricity in the next 10 years. We believe that. We believe our roads can be fixed. We believe that if we remove all this unnecessary federal interference in businesses and let businessmen unleash our businessmen to do what they can do, I think we can do a lot more than people believe we can do. And so let's look to the future. Let's look to what's achievable. And we've tried. In fact, if it was up to me alone, the targets in the document will have been even more dramatic. But cooler heads than mine prevailed.
You think it would have been more dramatic?
I think we should aim for 5 million jobs a year.
All right.
But cooler heads prevailed and said 3 million jobs a year. And we will accomplish those things.
So there are 4 points that I actually picked out of these documents, which is one of the ones that you've just mentioned, which is promise to create 3 million jobs, human capital development, poverty eradication,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And also infrastructure. And then he also said that he'd do 50 million, he'll take 50 million Nigerians out of poverty by 2025.
Yes.
All right. Another thing that he said is that he's seeking election for a 4-year term, correct?
Yes.
What is the projection for a 7-year term? What does that mean? Is he going back on his word? I mean, how is he projecting a 7-year term when he's just said that he's going to do only 4 years?
No, maybe I should rephrase that.
Yes.
Is it true that he's proposing to do just a 4-year term?
That is correct.
And that he will not seek a second term?
That is correct.
In office?
Yes.
And
no, you were saying 7-year term.
No, well, because I said, the question is, he said that he'll take out 50 million
yes. And
Nigerians out
So
of
it's a
poverty by
projection of 7 years.
2025. So that's a projection, correct?
Okay, so there is a contradiction
So
here.
that's
It's
If he wants to do 4 years,
Yes.
why will he plan for 7 years?
it's actually 6 years.
Okay.
Because we take up in 2019,
Yeah. Okay.
so it's 6 years.
Okay, 6
However,
years.
the reason
Right.
why we use 2025 in the document is because we believe in a continuous government. The fact that Atiku Abubakar will not be president in 2023 doesn't mean that his successor, we are planning for his successor to continue, and we're going to choose a successor if we can. If we can. If we can, we're going to recommend a successor that will believe in his policies and will continue. One of the things we have in Nigeria that's bad is one government does certain things, the next government comes and stops what the previous government was doing. Even with the PDP, the President Yar'Adua stopped many of the things that Obasanjo had been doing. So we foresee a continuous government that continues with the same policies. So instead of saying, let's stop in 2023, we want to have reasonable projections in a reasonable time, assuming government will be continuous. So that's in no way contradicts the decision he has made to have one term.
Let me ask you this. For a lot of people, it's a different candidate, the same party, the People's Democratic Party. There are Nigerians who feel that this party has had 16 years in power, yes, and promises were not fulfilled. And now you're coming again with these ambitious promises. What makes the difference in this candidate and the party at this time?
First of all, parties are vehicles, and people populate those parties. So when people are different in the party can change direction. If you remember, in the United States of America, it was the Democratic Party that was on the right side that was promoting slavery. But as the people in the Democratic Party changed, it became the Liberal Party. And so people change parties and leadership matters. If you look at Brazil, Brazil had a 25-year bad run. And then one guy came in the same party, and he changed the fortunes of Brazil. So I do believe that the difference, to answer your question directly, is the leadership of this party now. The leadership of this party has learned that Nigerians will hold parties and candidates responsible. The best thing we can do is to say, if you don't perform, we will remove you, either as a president or as a governor. So part of my desire to change this government is to let the next president know that if he too doesn't perform, he too will be removed. So I think that it is not, and in Nigeria particularly, parties, some of these people that are in APC were in PDP, some people in PDP were in APC. But we need to look at the leadership of the party. And I can tell you that I've interacted with them, and I have every confidence that the party called PDP today is not the same PDP that ran in 2015.
Let me take you back to some of the issues we raised earlier.
Yes, sir.
I raised the point about the proposed sale of the 4 refineries.
Yes.
You know, this is not the first time Nigeria has proposed to sell the refineries, privatize them and all that. And it didn't work in the past, and it has not worked. So what is the new thing that, you know, the presidential candidate of the PDP is proposing to bring to the table? That's one. Second, there's also this idea of cutting corporate tax. What is that all about? How is that an advantage for Nigeria at a time when we should be diversifying sources of revenue and even deepening the tax net?
Okay, I'll answer the first question, which is, we believe in a smaller federal government. As you know, Atiku Dangote he started advertising now for employees in his refinery. So he's gone a long way in building a private refinery. We believe things like refineries should be in private sector hands. So the selling of refineries and transferring responsibility to the private sector is consistent with a smaller government. And this is the time to do it. Maybe when they tried to do it in the past, there was no alternative in the private sector. Now we have a viable, vital private sector proposal to build a refinery. That's, I think, 90% completed. So it's easier now to sell government refineries and trust the private sector to handle that. So that's consistent with our vision of a smaller government. The other issue you mentioned, which remind me again, the second
corporate tax.
Corporate tax.
Yeah.
Nigerian corporate taxes are 30%. It's among the highest in the world. If you look at all the countries in the world, I think I did that research. There's probably only 1 or 2 countries that have a higher corporate tax than Nigeria. So yes, it is in keeping with modern economy to reduce corporate taxes because people still pay taxes at the individual level. So that's consistent. I think we should be more like in the 20% range to meet with the normal tax regime all over the world.
Okay.
But secondly, you do cut taxes when the economy is weak. It's a stimulative economic move. So the notion of reducing taxes in a recession actually works. Raising taxes in a recession is actually the wrong economic move. So we are taking into account the fact that we have a high tax regime and the fact that we're in a soft economy, and we're saying we will cut taxes so we can stimulate the economy.
Well, President Buhari is talking about education.
Yes.
You are talking about human capital development.
Yes.
Now, what's your candidate's position on education? What is the content of his position in terms of human capital development? They are talking about trade harmony, they are talking about education, they are talking about empowering the poor and all of that.
Yes.
How do you plan to develop human capital?
I think human capital development is more than education. Education is one piece of it. But when you educate people and you do not provide a meaning to their education, jobs for them, training for them, skill development, then the education becomes hollow. So when we talk about education, and the problem why a lot of Nigerians, I keep saying, if I went to university today, I would not have a first class in mathematics. I would be trying to play the guitar, which I have some talent in the guitar, because I think playing the guitar is a better career for a Nigerian today.
You want to become another
I want to become like Davido or somebody or Wizkid. Okay? So, but there's no room for a mathematician now. In the days when I went to school, mathematicians were valued. We need to value the skills that will lead people to a better life. And so when we talk about human capital development, we're talking about the total picture. It includes healthcare. I don't care how brilliant you are. If you're not well, if you live in a bad environment, if the air is bad, all of that, we're just trying to say, let's make our people as productive as they can be. And education is just one input. And I don't want to talk about this as social intervention programs. Economically, they're very, very unproductive. There's something called multiplier in economics, where for every dollar you put in, you see how much you get out. Giving people 10,000 naira, and you're thinking that that's going to get them out of their poverty, we are creating an environment of dependent Nigerians. We are creating an environment where children go to school not to learn, but to get a free meal. What kind of mindset will those children have when they grow up? They don't go to school to learn. Let us empower the teachers. Let us make our schools better. Let us give them computer skills. Let people go to school to earn, not to eat.
We also have that policy in America. It's called the welfare system. And so when people are poor in America, the government provides funding, provides healthcare, provides housing, and all of that. Yes. So, I mean, I can't understand why you think that that is
I'll tell you exactly
wrong.
why.
Yes, I'd like for
I'll
that
tell you
in
exactly
detail,
why.
please.
Because what we have to do is to use our resources in the best possible way. So if I have 20,000 naira,
yes,
and I'm to spare, and I'm driving down the street and I want to buy some plantain chips, that's fine. But if I haven't paid my children's school fees, then I don't have 20,000 naira to. So we have to look at our priorities. Is the priority books, chairs for the students? Some of these students are under trees. They're being taught under trees, and the teachers haven't been paid for 12 months. So yes, those things are wonderful when you have money to spare, when you have roads, when you have electricity, when you have water. You can give people an egg for free.
How would you substitute that? What would you do differently?
I will build better schools. I will make sure all our schools have computers. I'll make sure all our children can read and write.
The immediate needs of people are suffering right now. Well, how would you substitute that? That's my question.
I can't answer that question without sounding harsh. But we still have to make choices. So
you see, when the average Nigerian that is listening to you will say, okay, PDP policy document for 2019.
Yes.
The average Nigerian is likely to say, we've had all of this before. Everybody who wants to be president will tell you, I'll do human capital development, I'll create jobs, I will lower unemployment rate, I will reduce taxation, I will reduce inflation rate, I promise you prosperity, I will make Nigeria work again. Same rhetoric. So what is new? What is different? What is the guarantee that your candidate will deliver on these promises?
Leadership, experience, he has delivered in his private sector life, and you would have to see the team that he puts around himself. We have a government where things are totally within their control, they fail. For example, a personal example, they came in and they were in a hurry to dissolve all the boards. And they dissolved AMCOM board, and I was part of the people that were removed. Till today, AMCOM doesn't have a board. 4 years later, a quasi-regulatory institution doesn't have a board. It should take the government...
You sound like you missed your job at AMCOM.
No, I don't. I'm just saying, but same thing with CBN, with SEC, with NERC. You have dissolved all these boards, and in 4 years, you are unable to reconstitute governing boards of important institutions. How can you then tell me you're going to deliver 20,000 megawatts when a simple thing that's totally within your control, which is to constitute boards in line with proper governance, that you dissolved? You can't do it in 4 years.
Let me ask you, in what seems like a 4-point agenda of the PDP campaign promises or policy that was released yesterday, pre-released yesterday, one particular one got Nigerians talking on social media. It was when the part that talked about privatization of the NNPC. Yes. Now, we know that the PDP candidate is a businessman. He has a private university that claims to be doing well. You talked about education and how to fix it. But Nigerians are wondering if this administration is going to be all about privatizing everything, like government has no business doing business. I'm asking this because people in the past have come up with privatization which have not really worked and has hit brick walls sometimes, especially for an institution such as the NNPC, for a country running on a mono economy. So do you think that the PDP did its research to say, this is what Nigerians want at this time, this is what they're going to buy into, or we're just going to force it down their throats to privatize these things and make them work?
Okay, let me answer you. Leadership is about doing certain things that may not be popular, but are better for you. So if your child is sick, it is very painful, and it was painful for me to see somebody deliver an injection to the child. But you do it because you know the child will be better off for the injection. And the child screams, doesn't understand, why is daddy or mommy making me take this pain? But you know why. So, yes, there are certain things that may not sound popular, but are better for Nigerians. NNPC has been a huge drag on the Nigerian economy for a long time. It's poorly managed, it's opaque, and most other countries don't have government-run oil companies. So privatizing NNPC is it's not going to be a bad idea for Nigerians. Also, you say mono economy. We must get away from mono economy. The government must find other ways to raise revenue, except depending on oil. So I think that it will be a good thing, all in all, if NNPC is privatized so that its operations are open, so everybody sees what's happening. And government can always tax NNPC, the private NNPC, and derive the same or even more revenues from a private NNPC than a public NNPC. So yes, we've thought about it, and we think that's what's best for Nigeria at this time. And it's going to go through a very, very transparent process, but it's also in fitting with a smaller federal government that I told you was one of our driving principles.
Beyond the issues, I mean, President Buhari was saying Nigerians should not set Nigeria ablaze, that they should be peaceful. They should look forward to an election that will be conducted in a peaceful manner. What's the position of your candidate on that?
We are going to do 80% issue-based campaign. We will only go into negative campaigning to defend ourselves. So if somebody says something that's unfair about us...
So you have a strategy for negative campaigning?
We will defend ourselves, yes. We will not allow them to define us as what we are not. So if somebody defines us as something that we're not, we will defend ourselves vigorously. So we would prefer that this is based on issues, performance, leadership, competence, all of those things. That's what we're prepared for. But I want to say clearly that we will defend ourselves if they start saying ridiculous things about us.
Do you have the capacity to match the APC, propaganda for propaganda?
We will defend ourselves vigorously and efficiently.
Well, why do you think that political parties never meet promises made to Nigerians? What do you think is the major reason why political parties never meet up with their promises?
We will.
But obviously, for 16 years, PDP in power, they didn't meet that, and that's why, for the first time, a central government was ousted by a major opposition party. And now we have the same PDP coming in vying to come back to power. So they didn't meet. There's so much talk about the APC as well not meeting. Why do you think that this is happening? There must be a reason why political parties make these promises and yet don't fulfill them.
I will tell you this in conclusion. I was in the last government, and I tried to support the last government during the elections.
You tried or you did?
I tried.
Okay.
The conviction I have now is multiples what I had then, because the leader I have today, the person I believe is the person I believe that can move Nigeria forward. I have interacted with him, and his leadership style and ability I have not seen in any Nigerian. So I will answer you by saying the leadership, PDP is not the same PDP. This is a new PDP with a very committed and competent leader. And I think he's been preparing for this for a long time. He has not been successful. I think he knows what to do. I think he's ready to do it. And the reason for the one-term commitment is because he knows there are difficult things that can only be done when you don't have your eye on re-election. So I think Nigerians will be very pleasantly surprised. I think this is a well-thought-out campaign, and this is the leader whose time has come.
Well, guys, I think we should let him go in case he needs to attend the formal launch of the policy document of the PDP presidential campaign.
I appreciate the time here. It was very good questions, and I hope I did my candidate
Great
practice.
Yes,
pleasure
you
having
did.
you with us.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure we'll invite you again.
I'm ready to anytime.
Thank you. It was quite insightful
Thank
to
you
have
very
you
much,
here.
yes.
That's all from Mustapha Chike-Obi, Economic Advisor at Atiku Campaign Organization. Tomorrow we will have Femi Adesina, President Buhari's spokesperson, to speak on the president's continuity plan. It's time for a short break.